Hello everyone and welcome to our first gameplay stream. If you notice, there's a lot of Tomb King stuff coming out right now because after all the DLC releases on the 23rd. So we try to do something a little different, which is actually a newbie stream for someone that may not be aware of how Total War Warhammer works or hasn't met it in the future. So with us today is Dr. Rachel.
Hi.
And you have previous Total War experience, is that right?
Yeah, I've played Medieval Total War 2 a lot.
Well, we're doing something a little different today, and I actually asked you previously, what do you prefer when you're looking for in a race, like especially in a game like this?
I do like to play women. Female faction leader was probably the major appeal to me for playing this faction. I wasn't as interested in Warhammer until I found this faction. So that's part of the appeal of this. I wasn't as interested in Warhammer, these factions that had pretty elves and the Britons?
Bretonia, yeah.
Bretonia, the refined Bretonia sort of look. I'm more into the undead and the trolls and that sort of stuff.
Well, you're in luck, because you'll notice today we have Queen Khalida, the High Queen of the Tomb Kings, and she has a very interesting roster for you to play with.
Okay, so I have these different select a lord. So what's the difference between having a High Queen and a Lord?
If you can see, there's actually a couple of Tomb King options right there, and the main difference has to go with the initial challenge. Mm-hmm. And unlike in previous Total War games, each one of these people is going to have sort of more specialties. They're almost like, I know the other game you play right now, if you don't mind revealing it to the audience.
Dota 2. Huge Dota 2 fan.
You want to reveal your MMR?
No.
All right.
It's higher than his.
It's higher than mine.
I think that's important to know.
It's true. It's very, very true.
I think it's actually higher than most of my friends.
It's higher than everybody we know, let's be honest, right now. And it's a bragging point.
So diplomatic relations doesn't mean that I have to spend a whole lot of time not killing people, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so I can still kill people with her.
You can totally do it, but in this case, she's going to be more likely to actually make alliances with the other Tomb Kings, which leads to better trade agreements, things like that.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Poison, I like that.
Yeah, so poison actually provides a debuff. So whenever you're in a fight, all the other people in your army, when they hit, will have cause a decreased melee attack, a longer time between attacks, and do a little bit of a damage debuff, a dot, to use terms. Attrition is like when you're in enemy territory and it starts to hurt you. It happens less often. And untainted means that basically sort of like a local attrition for you won't affect you. Jump scare? Really? Got you? I'll admit right now, this is actually the first time I've played through this DLC as well. I actually just got access to it 2 days ago.
Khalida, the embodiment of the asp. She has been sent far from Liberus by her beloved goddess. Eternity was promised, but the Tomb Kings awoke to unlife, no longer beatific sovereigns. Their kingdoms as decayed as their bodies. It lives.
I love this new style of art that comes with it. So it's just still images that have had very little animation put to them in After Effects, but it just goes so far.
But there's also sort of a heavy black line behind it. It's very lined.
Of undead lore, authored by the Arch-Necromancer. Due to the turbulence of the vortex across the ocean, not 9, but only 5 books are needed. Then the pyramid shall open.
Ooh, what happens when the pyramid opens? Is that my job?
You win. That's actually your job for the campaign. Is you're normally you are one of the 3 other races, and you're trying to control the vortex. But the Tomb Kings are not interested in magical power. They already have basically unlimited power, as you'll see here.
Right.
So you're trying to get these 5 necromancers' books together, so you can then basically take over the entire world and recreate the spell that raised all your armies from the dead.
So if I can recreate that spell, do I raise all my enemies to my banner?
You just win. So we'll say yes.
Okay. So I can make up my own sort of.
Well, there's a final battle at that point, actually. So what's going to happen is.
Are you going to tell me? You almost told me what was going to happen.
Oh. It's part of the NDA.
So they're telling me that I need to go all the way over there to get those books. So the blood swamp? Blood swamp?
among other things. The game's actually pretty good about, it even says how to play over there.
Okay.
It tells you you're after the books of Nagash. The day of awakening for the Tomb Kings has come, so you've been awakened by this guy named Nagash. He died years ago, but you're now trying to create or find his necromantic books to kind of help you back up again.
So how do I raise new armies, or are new armies born?
You raise them. So if you click check mark right there, it'll actually kind of get into it. So it says Tomb Kings kind of are all about researching past dynasties, things like that. So there's research that you can do. The mortuary cult is actually where you get your lich priests. You can actually craft magic items by using trade resources, things like that, which is a really cool new feature. So in previous Total War games, you've traded for things like cinnamon, things like that, but it hasn't really been super useful.
Lots of gold. Amber. Lots of amber.
Amber, exactly, which is a Wood Elves resource, which, it's the same kind of concept you're trading for these other things. Now, you notice you've actually been issued your first mission. Now, this is a new feature for a lot of the new Total War games, which is instead of just playing the game, actually, it's sort of like the Pope in Medieval 2. It's sort of a super version of that, where they want you to do certain things, and at the end of it, they actually provide really cool quests with unique items you can get that make your lord even more powerful at the end.
Okay. So
Cool.
like a super powered situation here.
Exactly, a little divine rapier.
So I'm looking for any of the. There are 9 books, but I can find any 5. That's how I win the game. It's really strange because it's not Conquer the World. I really thought it was Conquer the World.
Do you want to do
And then we're done.
Mortal Empires is Conquer the World. You want that one?
Oh no! I just didn't realize that there were multiple kinds.
So for especially new people coming in, that can be a little confusing. If you have Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2, you get access to something called Mortal Empires, and Mortal Empires is actually designed, like she said, conquer the world. Paint it whatever color your faction happens to be. So you'll notice you actually come with a certain amount of new units attached to your queens. So besides just basic spearmen and archers, you actually have access to a couple of really cool, slightly more powerful guys, which you'll see over there to the right.
And they're all with me, right?
Tomb Kings are all about having a lot of really weak units,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
kind of absorb all the damage. And then you have your really powerful guys over there on the right, which are your Necropolis Knights. And
So it's going to be about protecting your
exactly
smaller
right, using a
units.
buffer and the sepulchral stalkers. In both cases, I think anything with knights is basically going to be cavalry, so it should be right up your range. Just imagine putting a lot of peasants right in front of people, and then using them to soak up the damage.
Okay. And are they fast? I guess maybe you don't know yet.
I don't know yet. I'm, like I said, kind of coming in this from zero, but I would imagine they would be. I mean, we'll have a battle coming up pretty soon, I'm sure. So we'll get a quick crack at it.
Enemy minor settlement. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go kill them.
Well, hold on.
Wait.
Let's go in a little bit. Let's take a look at the. So if you notice,
Ooh.
yeah, if you
that's
zoom
big.
out, if you zoom out all the
Whoa.
way now, it actually goes to a tactical map where you can do diplomacy and things like that. So it's only
so
diplomacy.
this is all of Warhammer World, basically.
That's all of the new world of Warhammer, exactly.
the new,
correct.
not the old. Just
Yeah.
The, okay.
So the old world's over on the far hand right. It's sort of like if you can imagine Europe, the New World, and then Atlantis, and sort of Africa over there on
Okay.
the right hand side. You actually own only one province at the moment. So if you'll
the
notice,
Forgotten Isles.
yeah, the Forgotten Isles. So if you click on the Forgotten Isles, you'll notice that it takes 2 other places, the Dust Gate and the Golden Colossus, and after that you actually own the entire province at the same time. And with that entire...
But I don't. I just own the settlement.
You just own one settlement of 3. So when you unlock all 3, you can do special edicts, which gives you things like additional public order, things like that. Your basic settlement, you have an upgrade right now. You'll notice because
Is that what the red is?
that little hammer right there? That little hammer means you have an upgrade available. So this is going to allow
Crypt
you
Barracks.
exactly. So you're going to be able to go and recruit Nehekara warriors and additional things like that in about 3 turns. Now, in previous Total War games, you actually clicked on the city and then raised new units.
Right.
But in this one, you actually click on your lord.
Oh, so it's much more lord based. Because I gotta be
Exactly.
honest, in Medieval 2 Total War, I never really cared about who was king.
Yeah.
I was king. Oh, it's a tiny plus. Okay,
Tiny
we're
plus
really far
sign.
away from the screen.
Sorry.
So they're not coming out of the cities, even though I built Crypt Barracks there.
Right, so the Crypt Barracks allow your lord to recruit new people out of them. It's the classic idea that, in ancient armies back in the day, it was really generals that would go and rally people to their cause. They didn't just spontaneously appear from nowhere.
Does everyone automatically come to my lord?
Exactly, right.
Whoa.
They don't have to travel, they literally pop up
Wait,
on your lord.
I only have one army?
At the moment, you only have one army, so what you'd have to do is recruit another lord at this point.
Okay.
Right, so to start off with, though, let's probably beef up your army you have right now, because
Right.
you only have 6 of 20 slots. So you always want to check to see if you have a regiment of renown available.
What?
Oh, they're actually
they're
going through a tutorial with you, which is pretty nice, actually.
So I can read the books of national. Okay, cool. See what they have inside of them. Whoa!
Yeah, each of those books is actually going to have a really cool campaign buff. You're going to have additional speed, additional strength, things like that for each one you collect. So each one you collect will actually make you more powerful.
Is this a map situation? Like, it's over there?
Oh, wow, it actually shows you. So if in the actual game itself, in the game, these are the where they're located throughout the world, and I guess they're giving you 9 options, so whichever one, the 5 that are closest to you. And you actually can see the rewards right there if you click on each one.
Ooh, campaign line of sight. Is that like a Fog of War issue?
Fog of War, exactly. So like on our map we see right now, we can only see so far, so Fog of War would help expand it. Now, I should point out that these are randomized, so they will be different from game to game.
Okay, so then that's kind of nice because I can do one camp, if there's a trait that I especially aspire to, it could be on the other side of the world next time, so it's going to be a completely different campaign.
Completely different campaign every time, and they're definitely playing for replayability on these. Each one of these Tomb Kings plays very differently. First mission has actually been issued for this game, which is capture and occupy a settlement belonging to the following faction, the Sentinels of Zeti. You'll notice them from their icon right there that you're in luck. If you go pan the camera slightly over, you'll notice your very first settlement you're going to want to take, which is the Dust Gate. It happens to be owned by them. And it's going to give us a reward of 1,000 gold and 15 canoptic jars. And normally, canoptic jars are actually what mummies would have their organs placed to back in ancient Egypt. So there's a lot of stuff to really get into in these games, and it can be a bit overwhelming at times. So the basic is, upgrading through your settlement chain, but you have to have a certain amount of growth to do before you can do a settlement chain. In previous games, it was done by population.
Oh, she's so fast. Look at her run.
Look at her moving around.
Whoa!
So.
Oh, I just burned it to the ground.
Not yet. This is your battle screen, right?
Okay.
So you'll notice down at the bottom, you have the option between fighting the battle, auto-resolving, giving up, or encircling it and waiting for it to.
Oh, so that hasn't really changed. Well, this looks like a fairly even battle because they have 5 units, I have 5 units.
But you'll notice you have a legendary lord, and the legendary lords have additional abilities and spells that basically make them sort of like Dota heroes versus lane creeps.
Oh, and I level up. Oh, yeah, no. I do not want to auto resolve. I want to see what my snake people look like. I want to see it now. Okay, I'm gonna need like a pause situation here too because I'm not gonna know when to need this. Do you know what the pause button is?
Okay, so this is a completely different interface. As you're already aware from playing previous Total War games, it's divided into between campaign and battle maps. Now, in the top right-hand corner, you'll actually see the controls in the mini-map, and that's where you can actually pause the battle at any point and issue a new command.
No,
it's actually slide up and to the left.
I just want to see, what does that do? Whoa, yeah.
Tactical map. That's actually pretty new. You can actually command all your people from the tactical map.
And then I can get up. Oh, okay.
Right,
so if I wanted to do
overhead view, the classic, strategy map you see in a lot of battles back in the day.
And nobody's coming after me.
Right now, we still haven't started the battle yet. You'll notice at the top of the screen it says Start Battle right there.
Let's finish.
Those are really sweet-looking Necropolis Knights. Holy hell, that looks cool.
Yeah, the sort of electric flares read really well from far away.
If you double-click on their unit...
that's my deployment. Once I cross that line,
but you'll notice those guys are actually in front of your deployment zone, meaning they have something called Vanguard Deployment.
Oh,
so you can actually put them in ambush situations. Like if you hide them in the trees, they can be hidden.
Are there?
So you'll notice that we put them in the trees on the bottom right corner now, and it has the eyeball. That eyeball means they're hidden, so any advancing units actually won't see them until they get to the point that they can come across them right there.
So I'm trying to figure out when I lose the eyeball. Oh, lost the eyeball. Okay.
Yeah, Tomb Kings aren't really based around things like that. They're not about hidden units. They're much more about, sending waves.
Which ones are about hidden units?
Wood elves. Wood elves.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
Wood elves all day long. Shooting arrows at you from the trees. Freaking wood elves.
Ooh. Hey, lady. What's up?
Pretty cool looking lady right there.
Yeah.
You're going to zoom out a little bit right there. But
look at her staff.
That is really cool. It's like an animated snake. Yeah. The whole lore behind her was she was actually bitten by a vampire, and to keep from having the corruption take over her body, this great priestess, a snake god, actually purified her body, but coursed through it with venom at the same time. So it burned it out of her, but also killed her. But she's now kind of this god's prophet to this day. Okay, and they're coming at you. So you'll notice you have your archers in the front row, you have your spearmen, and you have your monstrous units over on the side.
Sorry, I'm working on the clicking bit. I want you guys to go there. And which of these beats are archers? Okay, those guys go there. And then archers just do what you do.
Notice your High Queen.
Is that her? No, that's her. Oh,
yeah, right
stop
there.
running that way. Right that way.
You'll notice over on the left-hand side, she actually has some abilities. These are special spells, like in Dota 2. So this is an explosion. It does not affect friendly troops, and basically it causes a moderate amount of magical damage. So it's
Okay, I kind of want her to go those guys.
Yeah.
I'm not going to kill my own units.
Shouldn't think so. Because it says specifically on your spell it doesn't target friendly units.
Yeah, that's true. I just mean that... Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's magic.
Then it's magical. All right, so... Okay, so I want these guys to go after those guys. I think it's really important to note here that I don't really know how Total War works. So I'm just guessing, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, she's playing it wrong. I'm like, yeah.
Well, you are playing on normal right now, so there's nothing wrong with that. And you played
I thought this was uneasy.
Oh, sorry.
Why am I playing normal?
So actually display the path. So.
Oh, she just detonated just out in the middle of nowhere. She just like.
All right. Well,
kind of,
yeah, she did. So you have to.
She just kind of farted on that whole area, but no one was around to smell it.
You have to click on the actual.
It's not my fault. It was my fault.
So don't forget.
I'm not sure I want to resume. I think it's a terrible idea.
Don't forget about your awesome guys over there. You want to make sure to send them into battle. They're not going anywhere.
I feel like this battle's happening really quickly. Is there a halftime
There
option?
is, directly next to pause.
Is that it? Okay,
Yep.
let's do that. Because
all right, so running at halftime. So don't forget about you guys over there on the right. And then
I want them to go.
You can kill those guys. Right click.
That would be great.
Boom.
If we could do that. Those guys look to be dying.
They are. Now, actually, that's a really cool thing they've added, which is directly above the units. You actually see a little health bar. There's two bars. One is a red bar, one is a gray bar. Do you see that?
Yes. What is the gray bar? Is that their stamina?
Yeah, exactly.
Their willingness to continue?
Willingness to continue.
Okay, so she's going to come. She's on her way over here, and then I'm going to just fart on these guys.
Right, and that'll work. And that fart is called the Venom Wave.
Wait, I apparently can't do that yet. I have to wait 74 seconds.
You're under melee right now. She's pretty pourpowerful, I would imagine.
Oh, I'm just killing people. Let's go. Let's get in close here.
Yeah, you can
Let's
actually
watch
her.
me just go ham on some folks. Oh man, look at me go.
Yeah, she's getting in there really wrecking people right now.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, look at her staff. God,
Yeah.
Is her staff attacking people?
I don't know. Let's watch it. Here, zoom in a little further. See if you can see.
No, I think it's just hanging out.
Back up a little bit.
Yeah, I went right through her.
All right. She's all right, that's actually pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
So definitely not a melee hero. So a lot of heroes in Warhammer 2 are divided between melee and caster. Some people are magically based, sort of like intelligence heroes in Dota, versus strength heroes. So she's going to be much more of an intelligence hero.
Need to kill all them. Why aren't y'all killing them? Look,
Well,
you're queen.
If you right click on them, that's all you have to do. So now keep in mind, these are your really low tier guys. They're cannon fodder. And if you look down at the bottom, your spearman guys are not doing super great right now. They're already starting to get wrecked pretty hard. And even your snakes right there.
My snakes.
Yeah, so you might want to pull them out of combat. Because currently they're fighting 3 different units at the same time.
Run away, run away, run away. Why? How did that happen? Okay, let's go save them. Y'all go save them.
Right.
I really like those
you also have
guys.
your other unit right there. You might be able to pull in.
Why are they still just chillaxing?
Well, they're ranged units. You'll notice right above their name right there on your bar.
But they're not throwing anything.
Well, they are now. See, there
now
it
they
goes.
are. Now they
We're
are.
actually doing a pretty decent
These
amount of-
guys,
yeah,
they just walked right out, and now they're not doing anything either. Stop!
Well, you're kind of running them into other units, so you gotta back them out the rest of the way.
I clearly told them to go away, and they were not listening to me, and I feel like that's not my fault. Okay, now just keep running and don't die.
I'd like to point out that one of the new patch notes, especially for Warhammer, was that the units don't ignore commands anymore.
That can't be right.
Alright, so your queen should probably have her special ability by now if you want to take a look at her.
Nope.
Not yet. Well, get her back into
my
the thick of it, because she has full health, and you need to get her in there to help out.
Okay, so she really needs to be in it even.
Exactly.
Okay.
You notice right above her name, she has that health bar, and when it reaches red, then you start running into problems. But for right now, she is going to be your primary force in that battlefield. These heroes are no joke. Now, you'll notice that you have the horn right above your other guys right there, right in the dead center of the screen, meaning they've rallied. So they're definitely a little happier to be in the fight right now. I mean, you had rallying back in Medieval too. So.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now my lady.
Mm-hmm.
5, 4,
3,
2. Come on now.
1. See if you can get both of them at the same time. Go for it. 1, Why is it stuck? A 1. And click it again. Boom. And that's going to hit everybody in that. Good night. Look at the amount of damage that did. Holy hell. So you'll notice that unit instantly routed right when you did that. So plow her right in the back of these other guys. It's important to note that especially early game, the lizard men are really hard to fight because you'll notice their banner right there has this bright red, like kind of glowing aura around it.
Yeah.
And it's because the lizard men as dinosaurs can basically go berserk, if you can think about it that way.
Yeah.
So they start ignoring other units and they start ignoring commands, but they get super duper powerful while they do that.
I'm really pissed at myself for losing all of my people.
Well, it's all right. Keep in mind, these guys don't make a difference. These are absolute fodder. They're infinite almost. Like, literally, you can raise as many of these skeletons as you
No, but
want
it's
to.
these guys. I like those guys. You know, I've always had trouble with the archers killing my cavalry.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's actually one of the really cool things about the newer games is replenishment.
Yeah.
So if you keep them out of fights for a couple turns, they'll actually slowly replenish themselves over time.
Yeah, I have actually just walked my my archers in a circle so they would not kill, because it was like inevitable. They were just gonna kill my cavalry.
I gotta say, the animations are pretty cool so far. Can you zoom in on those guys? I want to take a look at what they're doing. It's funny because I played most of my games and they're like riding on the back of cobras.
Oh my
That is so
gosh.
cool.
I want to be those guys.
Riding on the back of cobras? Hell no.
Giant cobras. Look at that.
Little personal tidbit about myself. I can't stand snakes. Not even a little bit. Like,
really
I respect them as
creatures
of the world. In a David Attenborough sort of way. I understand their place in the food chain, but hell no. All right, you'll notice your enemies are rallying right now, so you probably want to back the hell out of that fight.
Oh, I don't really back the hell out of fights.
All right, so you want to get your High Queen, get her up in there to intercept. So
High Queen.
Yep, she's got
Go
a
this
couple.
way.
So you'll
See,
notice
she doesn't listen to me.
she is. She's just in the middle of a fight, and you're in slow motion.
Oh, I forgot that.
Right. So she'll respond a little faster now. So if you right-click her right into that spearman group right there, you'll notice all of their health is super low right now. So they're not going to take much encouragement to finally break and run. Right. So this is the way the battle's going. Currently, you're doing quite well.
I am.
Right.
Really?
So here's a really cool thing about the Tomb Kings. They have 3 and then 4 abilities that happen in the course of a battle. So if you have enough of your little crappy tier unit guys die, you actually get this really cool ability, which actually replenishes all the health of all the remaining people. Right?
Because they suck it out of the ground.
Exactly. But that's really the ability of the Tomb Kings. Don't feel bad about losing your spearmen. Don't feel bad about losing your archers. You're all about keeping those primary big heavy hitters alive.
Well, that's what I failed at in this. That's why I'm mad. Is that my archers, my stupid friggin' archers,
Well, you'll notice
live to fight another day and kill me.
You need to pull these guys out. By the way, you're about to lose them.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, I won though.
That's it. You won. Congratulations. And
Wow. I
there's no
should
reason-
not have won that.
But you did. I mean, you even got unlocked an achievement on it for it. So good on you, Field Marshal. I mean, hey, the creators of Total War think that you managed to do what you exactly intended to do.
That is not true. It's been a really long time since I've done this.
But I mean, that's a decisive victory. There's no question about the fact that you won right there.
I feel like Creative Assembly let me win. So do I walk into the city or do I just...
You've actually automatically claimed it, so if you click the check mark down there at the bottom...
But I want to stand inside of it.
Boom! So you can either occupy, sack, or raise.
Oh, I'm going to sack.
Right, so sack is always the traditional answer.
Whoa! What?
So sack it means you just took all its riches and ran away. Alright, so you're going to wait a turn, then go back and occupy it again?
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that I could both sack and occupy.
On the same turn. So in the bottom right hand corner, you'll notice you have your next turn available. So it says research available. Dynasties. So you actually have things you can choose to research into. So if you'll notice, a lot of them, there are 15 turns that's going to take to actually unlock all this stuff. So you have Wisdom of the First Dynasty, which is going to be an additional army you can field, because currently you have 1. But it does turn down your research rate. All these basically unlock additional army capacity, you'll notice, but they tune down your research rate. So it's a question sort of what do you want to do from there. So this guy adds weapon strength for skeleton chariots, hero capacity. This guy's all about heroes and using Ushabani, good night. There's a lot to learn on the screen.
Yeah, I'm a little overwhelmed.
A little bit, yeah. This is
Because I don't even. It's not even exactly clear to me
what all these guys do.
How I go, how I climb trees.
Think about it as 5 different class trees, right?
Mm-hmm.
So each one's going to provide different buffs. Now, you can actually end up getting probably about 2/3 to 3/4 over the course of a game.
Okay.
So it's really just when you specialize. So right now, we know we're going to unlock skeleton warriors, right? And skeleton archers. So let's take a look around.
Why do I know that?
They're your basic level units, right? They're one of those guys like Nekarara warriors.
So instead of building...
This is actually just adding additional bonuses onto your guys.
Oh, onto them. Okay. So
Right.
but that's kind of like upgrade. So it's like upgrading my barracks.
Upgrade, exactly right. So you're going to have additional upgrades for your barracks, but this is taking individual units and making them better. So these are probably the ones I'd recommend building up right now, just because that's what we have access to.
Right, that's a good point.
So probably Wisdom of the First Dynasty.
Wisdom of the First Dynasty it is.
Unassigned skill
How many
points.
turns do I have total?
As many as you want. There's not actually a time limit on this one.
Okay, now, but are there people trying to take over my territory?
Yes, so there's going to be other people fighting against you,
Okay.
and because this is an Eye of the Vortex campaign, there's actually going to be other people also trying to basically complete their campaign objectives, right?
Okay.
So they want to complete 4 ritual sites where you want to collect 5 books, right? Because you just defeated an army, your queen down here in the bottom left actually has skill points for the first time. So if you click on that little up arrow right there.
Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff in this game.
I know, right?
The learning curve, y'all.
It's real. And it's one of those things people don't really appreciate just how much more complicated this is than the other older Total War games.
Yeah.
I hear all the time people are like, man, you should play Crusader Kings. If you can imagine all these separate things in a window, buried within another window, buried within another window.
That's Crusader Kings.
That's Crusader Kings.
That I would.
And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate from that from you guys, but I'm so sorry. I've tried so many times to get into Crusader Kings, and I
Well, that
don't
was pretty buried. It's like there's a small number 2 next to the portrait of your. Figure it out. Like, okay.
You know, and that's the purpose of this little video right here. I
Right.
know it seems so dumb to make a video like this, but hey, if you're starting from 0, or even if you're even a mediocre player, there's just still so much to learn. So your blue tier is going to be campaign effects, things like public order, income from raiding, casualty replenishment, canoptic jars, basically gaining more
Order
money.
of canoptic jars. Wow. Whose job is that? Who puts that on their taxes?
The red one's going to be about buffing your army, additional ammunition for skeleton archers. This one's going to be additional armor for your units. This one's going to be additional speed. And I mean, these buffs go from 6 to 9
I
to 12.
don't do well making decisions in my normal life.
It's cool.
Can I just pick one? Can I just blindfold myself and be like,
As this is a stream, I'm actually going to go through the options with you first, and then you can choose. Does that work for you?
I'm not gonna listen to you talk.
That's fine. They're probably not either. So these are going to be...
Do you have these all memorized?
I do not. This is literally the first time I'm seeing them. But it's the same for every single hero, so once you figure out the pattern, it's pretty consistent.
So once you
across
figure
them.
out a pattern that works for your play style, then you can
Exactly.
continue.
And it's not only that, it's also depending upon the lord. So like the yellow...
Well, a little bit. Well, that was something that I always appreciated about Total War, was that it felt like you find your strengths as a player as well, and you play to those strengths, and they allow you to do that.
So let's be honest right here. You probably did the best with commanding Queen Khalida and putting her where she needed to be at that moment. Would you agree?
No.
You did. I mean, you saw that unit instantly rout.
I want less archers. Can I have less archers?
You can have less archers. So this whole line right here is all about upgrading just her. You're going to make her the hardest hitting, just crazy lord you've ever seen in your life. She's going to be the snakiest venom crazy.
That is very appealing. Ooh, I like Blade Master hard to hit. I like it when they live.
Exactly, and that's exactly what that does. Now, I am aware to anyone watching right now the conventional wisdoms as you go down the red tree. Having said that, I find the yellow tree way more entertaining.
Well, the first one is for arrows, so we're definitely not doing the red tree.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, screw archers.
Do I get big monsters? I mean, just like...
Gigantic. They're actually called hero titans. I mean, they could use the word titan in the title. So,
is that the one from the trailer with the laser beam eyes? Is that going to happen?
Yeah.
Oh, when do I get to do that? That's not for a while, is it?
It's probably not.
Oh my gosh, we're going to be in this for a while. I hope this is helpful for people. I know that I'm not the best at these kinds of games, so I hope that people...
You're better than me, so...
That's not true.
You've never seen...
I'm better at running people over with horses than almost anyone in the world.
It's true. Back in previous Total War games, I played a lot of Britain. Line of defense, auto archers. Pretty soon, you're actually going to complete that one, just already having naturally figured out what you want to do.
Fight them. I like that. I like that we're gonna dig them up.
There are many legions, warriors, and servants still under the sands, ready to will to serve. We must find them. Right. I mean, it's definitely, you get the Egyptian vibe, the archaeology, the idea of summoning people from underneath the sands, and it's just so fun.
Yeah, it's so much more glamorous than giving birth.
Or just randomly recruiting, like they just...
Yeah, like some guys come up to a recruitment station. It's whatnot, like cinematically, like a line of guys that are, getting their physical exam.
Okay.
Not as exciting as rise. Yeah, right. Yeah, let's compare it one more time. You do yours and I'll do mine. Ready? Rise. Mine's better. Yeah.
On your queen right there.
Queen Galita.
We sacked last turn, but we know we actually want to take it over, so we actually just re-attack it again right now, and we're good to go.
So they're not gonna. I'm just gonna run. Well, I'm so fast. It's sort of like intense. I'm really intense.
There's no reason to fight this one. I mean, you'll notice based on your power bar right there at the top that you way outweigh their ability. That gold bar goes all the way at the top.
So just auto resolve and just boom. And then I'm gonna so I can sack and then occupy.
You can
but I
sack
should
him.
probably just occupy.
Well, it's one of these things. If you intend to do a long-term gain, it's probably easier to occupy. But if you just want to go in and raise someone's settlement and leave again, that's the easiest way to do it.
So time for them to learn is serpent reptiles are not the same. So yeah, I just So I just want to remind myself I need to do that.
You're researching.
I need to do that. I have lists of things to do.
You do?
It's like being at work.
Your leader right there.
Okay, so this is confusing for me. This moment. This is my new bereaved. But why? What this line is?
Okay, that's the border between your territory and theirs.
But it's not a province line.
No.
Okay, see, that's why I got a little,
line.
I was like, I stuttered when I was going there because it looks
Let's go
like...
over to the right a little further. You'll notice this is a much thicker line over on the right-hand side over there.
Right here?
Right, yeah. So that's the province line versus the region line. And that yellow arrow means, boom, you have a skill upgrade. So...
My gosh, seriously. Do I have something else to do? Hand-to-hand combat, daily defense, leadership.
Leadership means people around you less likely to die.
Speed.
Speed and melee defense, meaning you're going to be faster and harder to hit. Blade Master, you're going to hit harder to hit. Everyone around you dies less often. If it was me... Your check mark right there.
Check my check. You know that for me so there's a microphone that's like right, and there's a check mark that's like right there. So it's like what check mark? Okay, I feel like I need some more grape juice, some grape juice and coffee. I don't know. I have grape juice in one hand and coffee in the other.
Plus mark means replenishment. So right now you're actually gaining health. You'll notice there's a little yellow bar back next to their name. So over time, your army is actually going to rebuild itself without you having to do anything.
Oh, that's awesome. So I don't have to waste time recruiting people.
Exactly.
They just recruit themselves.
Right. So they automatically retrain themselves.
So they're like somewhere out there, somebody's being like, raise! I think it's really important to remember that.
So recruit units, you have access currently to skeleton warriors, skeleton spearmen, and skeleton archers, right? So these are your basic units you're going to see throughout the world. And we want some basic, just, sword tier infantry.
Spear dudes.
Well,
sword dudes, right?
Sorry. So you
sword dudes. Question. Global versus local. So that's just, I can only recruit these guys here.
Point. So global means anywhere in the world you can recruit these people.
Right.
Right? But they're going to cost 2 to 3 times as much as they might normally.
Okay.
Right? Local means you're actually in the same province and you can actually recruit locally from that same province.
So it seems like local would be the better choice if possible. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that feeding this army, not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
So they're pretty cheap.
There is no food on this army. There's no gold in this army. They are literally just skeletons you are pulling out of the desert. You notice this damaged building in the bottom right-hand corner. So
Did I do that? Did I...
Maybe when you sacked the settlement it caused that, but it's really nice because you click that and it actually automatically reminds you of what's going on in your world. Right. So, right.
I went straight for the glowing hammer.
So our objective for this particular video is going to be to take over that final province. But before we do that, we want to start building up our infrastructure.
I don't think I played Medieval 2 Total War right, because I really just went from town to town and killed everyone and razed them to the ground.
Right. So
and then bent them to my will. Now, do these settlements lose whatever her traits are once she's out of the room, basically?
That's right. So
okay.
So something to point out right now is if you'll notice right here, it actually tells you what the public order is.
It's bad.
Yeah, well,
Oh.
currently you're -6, and next turn it's going to go down by -18. Now, that is because you sacked the settlement. But that's okay, right?
It seemed like the right thing to do at the time.
Clearly my mistake.
I really wanted to click that so much.
I know you did.
Oh, I don't regret it. I
no,
don't.
it's all right,
Okay,
you-
do I need public order, though? Those are two separate things. I don't have to spend... If I spend a point there...
When it reaches -100, they're going to revolt, but you can come back and crush them.
I can with my chariot.
How much do you care about your peons?
I know, and she runs so fast.
She really does.
Military access. Everybody always wants military access.
Yeah, don't ever trust anybody who wants military access. But what are they offering?
Not a lot. I want them to give me more money. How do I do that?
Right.
Let me
So if you'll notice counter offer right there, and you're going to click out on
payments. I'm gonna need you to give me that much.
Great. Okay, and click the check mark. Ooh. All right, new mission. Obtain access to the following resource: marble.
One more time. What happens when I understand what a canoptic jar is in history.
But what are they used for?
What do they do?
It's a crafting item, so as we get further into the game, we can actually use these canoptic jars to create other things. We can summon great characters with them. We can create new buildings with them.
Okay.
We
I
can
don't think you told me this part. Did you tell me this part?
Probably not.
Okay. Well, you'll see in the edit.
There's a lot to go through in these games, if we're quite honest. The Tomb Kings are not what I would call an easy faction to start with.
What is an easy faction to start with?
The dwarves?
Really?
Possibly? Yeah, it's just gold. Just all about the gold. The stunties are all about the gold. The Dawi. Sorry.
All right.
Right, so as soon as we take the Golden Colossus, we'll actually have access to marble.
Is she going to run there?
She will.
I need her to do that for me.
Okay, so you click on her, and do you think we have enough people to take that location?
Focus.
Do I have spies? Ooh, I have more things.
Right, you did, because you recruited new skeleton guys.
That's right. They really,
Sword
they
guys.
really happened.
So they're going to be basic, like, infantry. Now, your spears
so
are going to be good
fast.
against cavalry, your archers are going to be good against other guys. So if you click on your city again, you had asked about spies.
Minus 24.
Okay, it's not going to go down as much now. See, it's at -5. It's going to be a couple turns, it'll level out. It's fine. So lords are going to be new armies, right? Now, heroes are going to be your things that you can do, like spies, things like that. So tomb princes are going to be your more melee-based. Lich priests have kind of magic over on the left-hand side, so they have different types of magic they can use.
Okay. Oh, they have a whole... Okay.
And necrotechs are going to be sort of the guys that go out and really do things like, you know, much more campaign-based things, you know what I mean? Sort of things like repair your walls, boost your income, increase your mobility, stuff like that.
Okay, so these, I am basically creating my family here. Now, is there a limit? So if I recruit one of these, can I not recruit any, you know?
Right.
Okay.
So if you notice in the top right-hand corner of this panel right now, it currently says you can recruit 0 of 0.
Right.
Right.
Well,
so,
I mean, when I have access to them, do I only have access to...
right. You can only do 2 or 3 at a time. They don't want you to spam, to do what they call agent spam on the map. In previous Total War games, that was always sort of a critique. You could have 30 guys on the map at the same time, and it just became just overwhelming having to deal with all those units having to do things.
see that, I can
So
see
they
that.
pared it down to be fewer guys, but more powerful in their impact.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna know what's over there until I get there. I just gonna run, lady.
Pretty much. Look at her go, man. She's like marathoning this. This is kind of impressive, actually.
How do they hate me too?
Keep in mind, it's all part of the same province, right? So they're all connected to each other. So when you take the next one, you should probably maybe create a public order bonus building, and it'll level it all out. And honestly, your lady being in her being in the cities and the army also increases public order.
Yes, well, I assume that, but because, you know,
The climate
previously I had a lot of lords to put in different places, and now I seem to only have one at the moment. So
That's right.
I have to, I guess, choose wisely where she goes. Oh,
Exactly.
somebody must talk to me.
That's right.
Hi, Great Turtle.
Well,
Isle.
notice
Oh no, they're just running around.
We're aware of these guys, so they're kind of showing you what they do.
The Golden Ziggurat.
Now I have most of them. Yeah, so that's the one of the leaders of the lizard men. He's a giant fat guy who floats on a floating chair.
That's weird.
It's kind of like Jabba the Hutt in space. The big teleport, it's like space Aztecs. It's cool though. It's fun. I enjoy it. All right, construct a building that permits recruitment of more
Yeah,
units.
so I did it.
You did it. So
I did it!
You got 500 treasury and 15 canoptic jars we can't use yet. Boom. maintain a total of at least 8 units. You have to have at least 8, total of 4. So basically, you want spearmen or warriors, but you're recruiting these guys anyway right now.
Right. So some of these, they're basically giving me a tutorial and then rewarding me for it.
Exactly.
I want to get the full run. I want to see the whole thing. Hold on.
All right.
Bring me Neferata's head.
And there she goes, sprinting across that desert.
Oh man.
The early missions are definitely all about kind of introducing you to how the factions work, right? And it's true for each and every one of them. So all of them are going to have the similar kind of ideas, so sort of easing you into the game.
They're just basically giving me canoptic jars for not sucking.
That's one way of putting it. Yeah, I suppose so.
Good job.
All right, so you can go ahead and attack the Golden Colossus this turn.
Thank goodness.
Get them!
All right, so if you wanted to, you could auto-resolve, but you always typically it's in your best interest to fight it yourself because you will do better.
That is some seriously hopeful. I appreciate that you believe that
What can I
will
say?
do better.
For Asaf!
I'm sure the people watching right now want to see these units to see what they can really do.
I want to see them. That's part of it. Is it why auto resolve when I can run snakes around and then like make my queen fart on everyone and just wipe them out? Let's see. All right, that's cool.
All right, cool. So you see, you have your
Can-
giant, your ziggurat, not ziggurats. You've been to Central America. What was the name of those things? Pyramids of the Sun, Pyramids of the Moon.
I don't. Well, they're no.
I don't recall. All right, hit start battle, get the game going, and I'll look up that word. I don't have my phone on me.
That's unfortunate.
Oh my goodness, that word's gonna bother me all day.
Oh yeah. So we got. See these ones.
So yet again, javelins, so they're gonna be
So
ranged.
it's basically all okay. So they're ranged, and they have their melee on the outside. Is that a good formation?
So basically, so long as you sort of counter their melee and sort of encircle them, just like you would with the French, you'll be just fine.
Yeah, I'm thinking of rushing the archers, and
Go
just
right
scaring the pants off of them.
Yeah, if you can get your lady right into the middle of, I would say, the macemen, that would be what I would do right now. Yeah.
This one?
Either the one on the left or the one on the right.
Okay.
I always like to pick one end of the line and try and fold up the line onto itself so it rolls across. It really wraps up the whole line.
Well, I don't actually see my. Oh, there she is.
Mm-hmm.
So you.
Now, keep in mind, if you ever can't find someone, you can always go down to the bottom and double-click their picture, and it'll automatically take the camera to where they go.
We're gonna go there. Oh, okay. So I can be like, boop.
Locks right onto her.
Okay, so these two horrible creatures. I'm gonna make you
You really hate archers.
really hard.
We both have a festering hatred for the Milan and the terrible the terrible things that Milan did to us previously. Crossbowmen are no joke, kids. So if you ever get a chance to go back to Medieval 2, just know that if you ever have to encounter Milan, don't.
Okay. That's my current plan. I know that everyone is gonna be like, that's a terrible plan. I'm gonna be like,
They're going to be commenting on YouTube. By the way, if you didn't know yet, YouTube lets you get away with nothing. I'm sure I've made several mispronunciations and several lore errors, and I'd like to just say that there are literally books and books and books on the lore of Warhammer. And if you're interested in the lore, I always recommend the comments. I always encourage people to name it down there because there's really just no telling how much I've missed. Alright, so they're starting to encircle you a little bit. You might want to zoom in and see if you figure out what's going on.
so this no.
Right, so you see your archers here on the right, your monstrous cavalry? Or try and maybe circle them around the back of the macemen and start shooting into those guys. So your guys are bunching up. Maybe circle them around.
What's with that?
Well, you order them all to attack the same target.
Well, yes, but it was awesome at the time.
It was awesome at the time.
You know what, you guys.
It's super pretty though, isn't it?
My queen lady.
Right. So double click on her, and
she's over there?
She's right in the middle.
Oh.
Right. She's just smacking some folks around.
Yeah, well, at least she's surviving.
She is. I mean, you can always keep an eye just above her portrait down there, and it'll keep her health.
That's true. So I need to spend more time doing that. So these guys, I really cannot figure out how to use these guys. So they're gonna back up.
Yeah, it appears. Keep in mind they're going to be shock cavalry, so they're not going to have a lot of armor. They're going to have a lot of punch. So you want to charge them in, smack.
See, that's what I was asking: is are they chargy?
Yeah, those
Where are
guys
you
are
guys?
definitely chargy. Anytime you see a cavalry icon with a spear, it's going to mean they're very chargy.
Okay.
Now beware, you'll notice they have that red flashing thing around their face again. The little icon of the enemy. So that means they're kind of going berserk and they're sort of using that inherent power, which being wizards, right? They're not concerned about their own traits anymore.
My order.
Man, you are readily spanking every single one of these people.
Oh, thanks, babe. I feel like I should go up there.
Deadly.
Yeah, you're definitely winning down here, so sort of putting some pressure on the back lines to get rid of the javelin and stuff would be a good idea. And you'll notice they're already routing completely. It was a very fast battle. You might use some of your monstrous cavalry to pursue those guys. Yeah, exactly. Going right in there.
Or we should just gonna.
Now, it's
See what I
interesting
can do
that
here.
if
Yeah, they're
normally
routing.
units rout, but because they're undead, they actually crumble. So instead of running away, they
that's
just
cool.
go back into dust. So you actually see them on the map. Oh.
Ah, that's cool.
And you've already won, just like that.
Yep. Yep.
And that's it. That's your decisive victory. So you put your check mark down at the
Decisive.
bottom. And you'll notice that yet again you deployed more than them, but you pretty handily handled it.
Yeah. So I'm definitely
Take
gonna
it well.
occupy.
It's knowledge.
And just like that, you gained the new passive ability, which gave you a banner, the banner of the Eternal Flame.
I want to come in here to see if everybody's happier. No, we're terribly unhappy.
Every time you conquer a new province, they're going to get slightly unhappier, right? Because they're all part of the same province.
Arthur vassals.
Obtain access to the following resource, and we got marble by taking that same place. So
Right
literally
now I
2
have
for
tons
1.
of gold.
Secured the province, good to go. Now, especially for new players, we're going to talk about something that you can do. So now that we own an entire province, you actually have a new ability that you didn't have previously. So in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you're going to see this right here. These are commandments, and they actually offer you different things that you can do for the entire province. So you can have increased movement and growth, you can have public order, you can have melee defense for everybody that's fighting there, you can have experience and replenishment, or you can have construction. Now, the thing we've been talking about is
Yeah, I
public
want
order.
some public order. It really stresses me out when they're unhappy.
No.
I know that they're NPCs.
I know, but yeah, you're managing an empire. You know, you feel kind of bad.
I do.
It's why I'm bad at Bretonia. It's like let's just throw peasants at the problem until it goes away. And I feel bad for the peasants. That's what I really do. So you can actually build a thing that helps with public order if you're really concerned about it. So if you go over to the right, and one of those will have public order bonus. If you click, kind of mouse over on the left-hand side, so that one gives +4 public order. That gives growth of 20. And that gives income of 50. So the one on the far left is actually going to solve your problem.
Oh, okay. So
And, yeah, because he gives you double bonuses.
there you go.
All right. And you successfully completed your first 2-3 quests, and you conquered your first province, all in a matter of
did.
30-45 minutes.
Yeah, about how long do you think this campaign would take?
goodness.
If you're going to guesstimate.
Typical play time for things like this is around 10 to 12 hours, if I had to guess.
Okay.
Maybe a little longer, depending how safe you want to be.
Okay, and that's just for this one campaign, right?
And this is just for this one character in this one campaign.
Okay.
Really pushing through
Okay,
the
so
end.
it has a lot of replay value.
Oh goodness, I mean there's 4 different places. And here's the thing to realize is each one of these Tomb Kings actually starts in a completely different location on 4 different places on the globe.
Oh, because
So-
you're all just looking for the books so you can start wherever. But they're just like tombs all over.
The idea is, yeah, exactly, there's tombs all over. So the idea is that back in the day they all sort of started in Egypt, but over the years they sort of dispersed and started off their own
Okay, so it's
kingdoms.
one culture from ancient times that's sort of rising from the ground.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is exactly what the
They
Tomb
used to
Kings
rule
are.
the world.
So as someone having come from previous Total War games, what's your first impression?
I mean it's a lot of information. There's some familiar things and some unfamiliar things, which I think is what you want out of a new game in a series. I like that it has a lot more color and personality. Like I said in Medieval 2, I really didn't care who the faction leaders were, and every time I had a princess, I just threw her at the next person that came along, which is really, I was just a terrible person. You know what would be kind of cool with the Tomb Kings is I know that you want to keep it all Egyptian-y, but if they ruled the entire world, if they could raise factions from the the dead, like other factions from the dead. So there would be like lizard skeletons too, like a unit that's local to that. That would be cool.
Well, there's always mods.
Yeah.
Sounds dumb to say this, but it's specifically one faction on the Tomb Kings actually already does that somewhat. If you play Arcan the Black or Arcan the Black, he actually gets access to Vampire Counts units, so he gets addition to the Undead you right there. All right, so thanks for tuning in, everyone. This, like I said, was a little bit of a newbie stream for people that might not be aware of how Warhammer works, but it does a great job of sort of introducing the mechanics of the world because it's very, very different, especially if you're coming from previous Total Wars, especially the historicals.
Yeah.
They play nothing like this at all.
But now they're definitely have more personality and it's more narrative. It's more narratively driven. I think that has a lot of strengths.
So, I mean, as someone who's coming from previous Total Games, is this something you'd recommend to people if they like the previous games?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll take me a little bit of time to get used to it, but maybe sitting down without a camera would help me
the situation.
and to be closer to the screen. Right now, it's really to there. It's all the way over there. So it's like to click the tiny plus sign. What? Where?
So thanks for joining me this evening, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it out there. And if you
I had a good time.
Exactly. Hopefully they did at home too. So traditionally we've been doing a lot more of the lore and history videos on this channel, but you'll notice we're trying to branch out and do something a little different because honestly people keep asking for it. So if this is something you're enjoying, hey, please feel free to leave a comment down at the bottom saying you liked it. And if not, hey, we'll figure something else in the future.